There's plenty of chairs that are available as well. Use that opportunity, because main thing is you don't want to be distracted. Alhamdulillah, everything else we come away from family and life and work and so on. Then if our physical being and the body becomes ill or pain, then that becomes a distraction as well. So inshallah, take the opportunity. If you want to sit in a chair, you can do so, inshallah. So inshallah, I would like to everyone to focus on the screen. I don't really want to spend too much time on the theory. As was mentioned, that this is actually a practical a retreat where you practice and you learn and achieve, inshallah. But as you can appreciate, it is necessary to go through some of the theoretical aspects just purely so that there's an understanding of what to do. So really, we've got through some of the you could say the logical arguments and the proofs and so on, because this is not the purpose of the retreat. Likewise, we're not spending too much time on the theory itself, only those aspects which helps us to understand and go through, so that inshallah very soon after my presentation, we're going to go into practice as well. Just so that you understand what you're going to do following the Ustads, inshallah, that we'd like to just to cover those aspects. So as I was hearing from yesterday, that really we want to emulate the being the best of creation, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's many aspects. So our ultimate goal is obviously we want to spiritually to be with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love and have the greatest love in our hearts and in our minds. As Ustad Majid were covering yesterday, that how do you actually can gauge or how can you measure yourself, like a quick acid test? How can you do that to see that where you are? Is it just a claim or not? And he gave one very practical task that we can check upon, that when we say we do love Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then sometimes in life the clashes comes. So for example, like there's a way of doing something which is a sunnah, a prophetic way, and custom and tradition of the day. Now, custom and tradition of a nation is not necessarily a bad thing. Islam does not say you shouldn't follow. Yes, you can follow. The only time we are to abandon any custom or tradition which goes against the teaching and the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the point where, for example, there's a custom in our society like this, people practicing this for centuries, and now suddenly that you learn or discover that this is not the sunnah way of doing so. So then that crunch time comes. Do I now adopt the sunnah, a prophetic way, or do I follow my custom and tradition, which is against the prophetic way? And that's when you test your loyalty, your love towards Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just to reiterate that point, although this is not the topic at this moment. So the many aspects of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life. So here, like we're learning this retreat, mainly the two major aspects. One is the seerah, the sharia, and the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he lived his life, and how he worshipped physically, how he engaged in dunya, and engaged to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The physical aspect, the seerah. So like we know. So as I mentioned here, the prophetic seerah, which we're all accustomed to. We learn from the ulama, go to the madrasa, learn from the seerah and ahadith and so on. So that is readily available, alhamdulillah, to an extent. Here now in this session, what we are really focusing on is the one other aspect, which is the spiritual aspect. So if I just quickly go on to the spiritual aspect. So this is all explaining the physical aspect. So when I apply the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we learned about the journey of man, as the Ustad Harun had covered, and the purpose of life, what we sent here for. And then obviously going to the Aqidah belief system, fiqh, we learn fiqh, learn about tawbah, repentance, and mujahada, and so on. And then there's actually a journey that we take, as Ustad Harun has touched upon. That in itself is a journey. They're going through the seerah and sunnah and implementing that in our life. So there's a two aspect here. One is the knowledge, we know, the information. So this is where you go to madrasas and schools and colleges and universities where you acquire knowledge from primary school to secondary school to advanced level, Islamic studies and so on. That's knowledge. Here also one aspect of that is sometimes is missed out or overlooked is then implementation in your life. So here it covers both in this aspect. So you go through all these aspects, you learn and implement in your life. Then after that, you learn that how to emulate this purification. Tazkiyah, what is it? In one word, very simply, you're trying to emulate the life and sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With his tongue, he never spoke a lie. He always spoke truth. So really what you do in tazkiyah of is you're trying to mimic, go more close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in physical form, in a physical sense. So again, for example, you do tongue, the ears, eyes, and all these other 7 organs mentioned previously in the session. You're trying to emulate Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the seerah, the sunnah, the outward aspect we're trying to implement in our life. Then carrying on further, purification of the mind, purification of the soul, the nafs, then the enlightenment, the offering salah with khushu and khudu and so on. And then preference, giving preference. This will be touched upon later, inshallah, that you become a point, a stage where when you say you love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you really show this in practical terms by what? First of all, you give preference to Allah's command. So that's an indicator that yes, you do prefer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above all else. When there's 2 opposing forces comes, you prefer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. So that shows that through the process of purification, you have now gained that quality, that innate inner quality you have gained. It's not necessarily comes through knowledge, it comes through knowledge and practice and going through the process of tazkiyah. Likewise, you're giving preference to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his sunnah. So that comes into your life. So this is just a theory I'm going through. One has to travel and bring that in their life. Then obviously having compassion upon creation. What that means is that you're not only fulfilling the rights of people, the family, the mother, the father, the wife, or the husband, children, the neighborhood, and so on, and the relation at large, but not only you fulfilling the rights which is due upon you, but you also have that innate concern for the ummah, for the creation, for the animate and even inanimate object in the world. So you're always trying to better them, do more than what they deserve, for example. So that quality becomes inbuilt. And this is also, like we know, sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then finally, the one spiritual aspect which we will also focus on through this retreat as well is to develop this presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Presence is such a powerful tool and a force that not only you practicing that in the masajids and in madrasas, you want to learn and practice that in such a manner that it penetrates through all aspects of your life, whether it be in a marketplace or in masjid offering salah. Again, that's another innate quality that we, through the process of tazkiyah, we attain. In the process of emulating the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we try to attain that as well. And then obviously the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes from Him. And His mercy, His pleasure comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we adopt the means, but we still rely on Him to become happy with us, become pleased with us. So the whole journey, as you can see in the diagram, inshallah, I'll give you opportunity to ask if you do have any questions, because I really want to focus on the spiritual aspect. So I'm quite swiftly going through. Ustad Harun, inshallah, later on will reiterate what I have said and consolidate as well, inshallah, to help you to understand this seerah aspect of the journey for us, inshallah, emulating Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is just a summary where we want to adopt this one aspect of life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's one aspect which he, over the period of 23 years of his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has taught us and conveyed that message in obviously Quran and Ahadith and so on, and the Sunnah. So that's one pillar you could think. The second pillar, the second aspect is more spiritual. And this is mimicking the journey, the ascension, the Miraaj, which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took place in that special night. And this is the apex or the more spiritual inner aspect that takes you towards the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spiritually, going through all these maqamats. And in this session now, I will touch upon what are these maqamats, what are these stations where when someone learns how to travel, then these are the places spiritually you can travel, inshallah, and learn and benefit and draw lessons from. So this is the second aspect. So the purpose is very similar, as I mentioned, but here is that because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's our role model, so we try to emulate that. So there's nothing invented or new. It is coming, from the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And here what happens is that many people, they embark upon spirituality, and they go to maybe spiritualists or even other people as well, and sometimes they get lost in the way. They do not know what is the right, correct way. And sometimes, unfortunately, many people then they venture towards the evil side and the shaitan and the darkness, and they get pulled towards that. The beautiful of this way is that you have a spiritual teacher, a master, and a map that is outlined where all the landmarks are, where all the signposts are, and possible pitfalls as well, so that you stay in a correct and in a path that is Sirat al-Mustaqim, straight path towards spirituality and attaining the kind of inner spiritual, the closeness experience and living Islam. So as it was touched upon yesterday by Ustad Majid, that we have gone through some of these yaqeen, levels of faith, certainty. For example, like ilmul yaqeen, aqlul yaqeen, qalbul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen, and so on. So here, as one of the objectives is we want to go at least to the level 4. So let's say we're all in level 1 now, which is ilmul yaqeen. Yes, so we all believe, inshallah, we have. Now we want to achieve by end of this retreat is ainul yaqeen, the eye of certainty. And inshallah, those who are traversing, maybe attended previous retreats, that you should then slowly push yourself to go even 7th one as well, which is the haqqul yaqeen, really experience and interact. So this is something that inshallah at our own level, everyone should be able to achieve one or the other, inshallah. I will not go too much detail on that, as this was covered to a great length last night. So again, it's just summarizing the 3 certainties, the faiths that we're going to be focusing on in this retreat. Number 1 is ilmul yaqeen, which we have through a reliable source, reliable information, i.e. the Quran and the Sunnah and the Aimma, what they have taught, and the ulama, for example, of Haqq. Then inshallah, you're going to go to experience that you get to see and taste. And that is the part of the ainul yaqeen comes in. And then finally, then the reality, the haqq, the truth comes in thereafter, inshallah. So just to give a quick summary and understanding is the 3 level is, so level 1, which is the information, ilmul yaqeen. So here I give an example of world news. So this is example of where you learn something, let's say, about a country called Australia to a reliable source, let's say BBC or ITV or whatever you want to call it. This information, you take it for granted because it is a reliable source of information. Although I might have not, or you have not visited Australia or seen yourself in person, but with the reliable information, you're certain that it exists, for example, as a country. So that's one way of understanding. Number 2 is, now with the reliable footage, you see in Australia there's a bushfire that's taking place in the summer. And you can see live footage they're giving. They're also doing a live eyewitness account, interviews, what happened, and they're describing what's going on. So that takes you to the 2nd level, which is what, brother? Which level is this? Which is Ainul Yaqeen, the eye of certainty. So you witnessing yourself. Yeah, mashallah. Yeah, that's right. So, and then 3rd one is imagine that you're like a reporter or someone who wants to experience. You've gone right close to or in fact, unfortunately, you found yourself inside the bushfire. The heat you'll be feeling, experiencing, and the thirst and the anxiety and all the other feelings you'll be going through and experiencing, that is at a much higher level than it would be of the previous two. And this is an example of haqqul yaqeen. Now you're experiencing, you're interacting with the surrounding. You not only information, not only you're seeing with your eyes, you're feeling with your body. You're feeling the heat, the temperature, the smoke, and so on. So this is the example of the reality of certainty. Very simply, if you want to understand that concept, so inshallah. And in a spiritual journey, this is what we like to achieve and push ourselves, inshallah, to achieving that. So there is more the evidence and so on. I shall not go through. Now, what are the objectives? Everything we have objectives, aims and goals in achieving. So likewise, in the spiritual journey, there are also 4 objectives. And objective number 1 is that the belief that we have, believe in the unseen, the belief in, for example, the life hereafter, believe in the qiyamah, believe in, for example, angels, heavens, arsh, kursi, paradise, hell. All this exists. Now, the purpose of going through this spirituality and Miraaj and experiencing that is to increase your level of yaqeen, where you have some type of spiritual experience in those fundamental pillar of beliefs that we know, the 7, the pillar of iman that we know. Not only we have the ilm, we have experience. And if you remember now, recall back to yesterday's session, as our teacher had begun, Shaykh Ahmed Dabbagh said that the world and the temptation is such that we completely immersed, and 24 hours of the day we are seeing the dunya, we are experiencing the dunya, so that the pull and the attraction is naturally there to go towards that. And in this technological age is taken to another level, whereby you can sit in your own homes and your device, you can literally see the dunya and all the attraction and the pleasure of it. Where in the previous centuries, people had not had that kind of experience, maybe in the hundreds of years. Generations of people had not seen such a level of exposure to some topic or some aspect which we can do in 20 minutes. So that's why this kind of pull towards that is so great. So here what's happening is not only at the intellectual level, but the emotional and spiritual level, you're redressing the balance. When you do have your personalized spiritual experience of the fundamental tenets of belief, then your mission and your goal kind of slightly changes towards more deen. You are more attracted towards deen and the practice and the sunnah. So the first objective helps you to achieve this. So I'll quickly go on. Naturally then, the second objective is, inshallah, and in this retreat as well, that we want to reach such proximity and the closeness to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that it's not just becomes an academic attachment, but we have a personalized attachment to him, and hopefully a spiritual one as well, with a spiritual experience. And then we'll be able to see and communicate. That's obviously at the highest level, you could say, inshallah. And then number 3, working on the having compassion upon creation, that your mindset, your whole outlook in life, it becomes such that it becomes prophetic, it becomes Quranic, that you do not see the creation and the relation for what it is. You do not look at them that, I've done something to them, what are they going to give me in return? And the beautiful hadith and the sunnah we've learned this morning from our teacher, that to solve all the relationship issues and the problems, the best way to do so is adopt the 3 sunnah. Those who want to harm you, you forgive them. Those who want to deprive you, you bless them. Those who want to cut ties, you mend ties. Sounds very simple, but those 3 are very profound. If someone implements that in his life, he really or she really becomes angelic. He really becomes saintly, these practices. Because then you rise above all the chores of dunya and the normal rules of engagement with people. And you see it, the reaction. that, look, I've done so much evil to that person, I've done so much evil, but at the same time, I never received this in return. So the whole of your perspective changes to another level, becomes a prophetic perspective. So this way, inshallah, you will achieve through the process of this Miraaj, inshallah. And the fourth one is the objective of all objectives, end of all ends, is that we want intimate and infinite pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His closeness, and to live a life in this, inshallah, which we hope to achieve through this. And in return, we do not seek for any appreciation, any reward, any acknowledgement, any compensation, any praise from anyone else. Person truly becomes free from it all. Because if once you become free, then nothing actually sidelines you or takes you to digresses you to your objective. Because many times people become practicing and they have certain things attached. Oh, I want to achieve this. I want to become better in health. Or I want to get married. Or I want to do well in my business by becoming religious. Or I've got certain issues and I'm depressed and anxious. I've turned to Deen to receive some peace. All these are good, you could say, things to achieve. But really, we should be really going and practicing Deen for nothing else except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His pleasure. And therefore, we are not looking for any reward or any expectation or any acceptance from anyone else, really. That we are nothing and we don't know anything and we only want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now I shall just quickly give you and show you this broad map, the spiritual map. With everything we inquire, like for example, you go on your phone, you have like a Google map or a Waze or whatever app you use, and then it gives you a demo of the full map, your journey that you take, for example, from Manchester to London or whatever. Everything, there's a map. Spiritually as well, alhamdulillah, by the fadl and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessing of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our special mashaykh and our teacher, is that they have not only shown us how to have experience spiritually, but outlined the full map, full journey and the muqammats going right towards the closeness and in presence of and in his court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's fully guided, so no seeker, no participant gets lost in the way. That you know from a first sitting, that in one sitting you know that if you want to embark upon the journey, what are the stages and stations to reach? What are the signposts? So that in itself is a blessing, alhamdulillah. So starting, if you look at the screen now, starting from the prophetic ascension, mimicking the Miraaj and the ascent of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the night of Miraaj. First of all, that we go through before to embark upon this journey is the journey of the spirit, the journey of the soul, of the ruh that we say in Arabic. Now, for that to happen, vast majority of us, like myself, Allah knows better about yourselves, I have a good opinion that you do have, alhamdulillah, is our souls are not used to, accustomed to know how to have that journey. So for that, there's special training, inshallah, in the next phase we'll go through, or we work on the certain spiritual centers which exist within our body. In Arabic, or in Urdu as well, Latifa or Lataif in plural is mentioned. But in English, very simply, if you just think of our spiritual centers, these exist within our body. And even the science of this day, obviously, if you look at this throughout the centuries, different communities, different cultures and civilizations, they have known about this. They've called it different names in Eastern world or even the Western world as well. They have recognized that these things exist. Like, for example, our heart, we have a liver, we have kidneys, we have all the other internal organs, lungs that exist. Likewise, we have certain spiritual bodies and entities and spiritual centers that exist within a human being as well, which is the science of this day only discovering and opening up to the whole world. So this, inshallah, we utilize. And the purpose of utilizing this is to purify them, is to make them clean, so that it's as though we're energizing and giving access to the ruh to make that journey and to transfer, have this outer body experience. And in order to do this, in order to embark upon this journey, we need to clean and cleanse those spiritual entities, bodies inside of us. So they're normally in this retreat, as far as it's concerned, we focus on the 7 major ones. So we'll explain that in due course, inshallah. Then, inshallah, after this spiritual body cleansing and spiritual transfer, you'll hear this word again and again, spiritually transfer, we very importantly look for our teacher, and in the teacher's company, then we start to travel, how the spiritual journey takes place. And then first station we go to is Masjid al-Nabawi. And there are sometimes other stages before that, which inshallah our Ustad later on will explain, that the major signpost is that we go to Masjid al-Nabawi. And we give our salam, of our salam, so one seek permission. And then from then on, then we go to Kaaba in Makkah Sharif. And there we spend time there, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on. So this is all happening in a spiritual journey. And one of the purpose of sitting in this retreat is, inshallah, you shall be going through this, guided by one of the ustads in the session, inshallah. Then we'll ask for your feedback, and you can, inshallah, mention your own account, your own personal experiences as well. And then from Kaaba, inshallah, like we know from the Miraaj night, we go to Masjid al-Aqsa. We spend time there. Many have experienced meeting the Anbiyas there, like in the times of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they know this: the power and of the spirit, the ruh, it's not measurable. It is in fact very, very powerful. Because remember, everything else of our being, our body, our mind, our heart, is all from this world, this dunya. But it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who sent down this special thing called ruh, the spirit, in our body. So that's in a way angelic, very powerful, this ruh. Only thing is it has not had the access until now to have the spiritual experience yet. And this is what we try to unlock, inshallah. So then after going to Masjid al-Aqsa, inshallah, we shall then go in the realm, in the world of Barzakh. Barzakh very simply means that normally we say, the life of Qabr, the life of the grave. We normally think the life of the grave is the small pit, that ground where we lay our deceased, our dead body in there. Physical terms, yes, it's only small, 6 feet by 6, 3 feet. But in reality, it's huge in size. There's also the Illiyin part, which will cover the good and the high levels, and also like the Sijin, the lower levels. But in this retreat, we focus on the higher levels, inshallah. So there, inshallah, in the realm of Barzakh, inshallah, like you know, there are 7 skies. Now, sometimes some people say heaven, but for our sake of clarity, we refer to them as 7 skies, the asmas we know. The first one, the second one, the third, the fourth, the fifth, 6th and 7th. Many of the arwahs and the souls of the anbiyas, and in those various levels they reside. Like for example, Adam alayhi salam in the sky, in the first heaven, first sky. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, like we know in the story in the Miraaj, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam met Sayyidina Musa in the 5th sky, for example. That's when they conversed regarding the salah to be reduced and so on. In the 7th sky, that's where reside the soul of, for example, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. So on and so forth. So this is the journey we take. After that, straight above the Kaaba and above the 7th heaven is another Kaaba known as Heavenly Kaaba, or Bayt al-Ma'mur, we know, for example, in Arabic. It's very beautiful. This is where the angels do circumambulate, they do tawaf around. And it's never empty, continuously they're doing. And the number of angels is so that one cannot imagine or even think about the number they actually tawaf. And they're continuously doing so, for example. After that, there's a huge, like a dome, Ghumbad, or the dome, that is like signifies the end of the whole, this like the qabr or the barzakh. Barzakh literally means like a veil or a covering. That's the end. And many of the mashayikh have said that sometimes the spirit, the arwah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes all the way there as well and reside there and then come back to where they reside in Medina Sharif as well. So you can find this in Ibri Sharif and so on. So this is the journey we take towards the Dome of Barzakh. All these different stations, inshallah, that you can achieve in this retreat, then it's a blessing. Alhamdulillah, you have achieved. Then after that is your own practice and your effort. You continue with liaising, communicating with the teacher, and then you progress further and further, inshallah. So that's the end of Barzakh. Then there are realms and the stations of the heavens and the Jannats and the paradise really begins from then on. Like you know from the Sira and from the night of Miraaj, the first station that comes is the low tree, which is what? Anyone know what the low tree is? Yes. This tree has a special name as well. Yes, brother? Sidratul Muntaha, mashallah. So this is this station where Sayyidina Jibreel actually ended his journey on that night. After that, there are many, the paradise, heavens, Jannah begins. So one of the first Jannah is, for example, you got Dar as-Salam, then Dar al-Naeem, then comes Ma'wa. So these are all mentioned in the Quran as well, these different Jannah. I got the different blessings in them as well, special blessing in each of these Jannah, of the paradise as well. After that, then you get Jannah Khuld as a special relationship with the station of closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, presence and so on, as is described there. Then you go to Jannatul Eden, where Adam alayhi salam, for example, resided in the heavens. So that has a special closeness to the love of the divine names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that Jannah. So these are some of the blessings you can experience, and then hopefully this will manifest in the hereafter, inshallah. Then after that, then Jannatul Firdaus. Normally, ulamas obviously they know, but the general public, we just think that's it, that's the highest level, which is true, it is. Jannatul Firdaus is the highest Jannah, as you can see in the stations. But the awliya and the ulama, especially the awliya and the arifin, they know there are greater Jannahs beyond that, within that as well, and beyond that, the different levels within that as well. So one of them, for example, above Jannatul Firdaus, there's actually a Jannah called Jannatul Illi'een. It's even higher than this. And then it is even higher than that, it's called Jannatul Mazid, the 8th heaven mentioned here. And then obviously, then after that, you have the divine chair, the kursi, the holy kursi, the divine chair there of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now spiritually, one can experience that at one's own level, in the company of the mashayikh and the teacher. Then really, like we learn from the teacher, is that the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never ending. Really, it is true. And many of the people who think the divine chair and the arsh is end, it's not really. If you look at it, look beyond the arsh and the throne. Here, arsh is right at the bottom of that journey. Although we know Arsh Azim is the greatest of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here there are many other muqamats and stations beyond the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One cannot imagine. There are, for example, other muqamats, different levels of some of the levels of you could say Ma'rifah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and so on. And even then, it doesn't end there. Look, it carries on. Then you have, for example, like the tablet and the pen, the Lawh Mahfuz and the Qalam, and so on. After that, there are many other mercy, divine mercy and manifestation exists. Then beyond that, there are many doors of light that gives you access to higher realms even. So these doors of light, normally think light is a blessing, is goodness. Yes, it is. But here it's like another very light layer of veil that you uncover to go to even higher realms of closeness to, you could say, experience of the muqamat and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence. Then there are also, like I said, many of the veils, the holy veils as well, the covers that you go through one by one spiritually. Then after that, there's a world, there's a realm that goes known as Al-Miraqqa, world of Raqqa, very special, significant place. Awliya, many people, they reside and visit those places sometimes. And the journey is not ending there. Are you all awestruck already? MashaAllah, good. Keep you connected, MashaAllah. I'm actually going to quite a fast pace, if you can imagine. I'm not interacting much, because I want to give you just a glimpse of the human endeavors and human, aspiration. Like they say in English, that if you aim for the stars, you might reach the sky. So I'm extending that further now to the heavens and beyond. Because if you really aim for these things, then by the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that inshallah, and the fiyuzat of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Mashaykh, then inshallah we want to achieve and experience, have our own personalized experience of it. The reality is still reality. We don't know how it is. We can get some glimpse and experiences of it. Now look, I'll give you an example. We may be in our 30s or 40s or 50s, living in this world. Still, there are things we're discovering about the world. After living for 30, 40, 50 years, we are still discovering. We do not know what's beneath the ocean. We do not know what's within the skies and the atmospheres, stratosphere, and so on. You know, many things, like even scientists, they've discovered there's a special piece of organ they found within the stomach that regulates the food, which they never discovered before. Very ajib, very strange to hear that the scientists discovered this very recently. And what's to say, many animals and insects out there that every day you hear on the in a science documentary program that they've discovered another type of species which they never knew existed. So what to say about these muqamat and stations is endless. But just to give you a glimpse of these things, inshallah. Then after that, there's actually a special station, special muqam called muqamal excellence, where the awliya of the highest caliber, they have certain experience going there of those muqams. And really, the journey doesn't end there even. There's a special house of Allah. Like we know house of Allah in Kaaba here, the Bayt al-Ma'mun. Here is a especially heavenly house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has very attachment or link to some of the tajalliyat, the theophanies and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in there. So like we heard earlier this morning that we know about Jannah and the blessings. And Hazrat Shaykh Ahmed Dabagh was mentioning that, you know, there are certain blessings in Jannah that no eyes have seen, no ears have heard. Have you sometimes wonder what could that be? And they said there's a portal that there is no physical blessing as such. It's all the closeness and the mercy and the special light and the tajalli of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is an indication of what things to come beyond the heavens. If you're inquisitive, that what is it, then this is a glimpse of shown that what's out there, for example, for us to experience. And yet, human being as the best of creation we know. They are the best of creation, but yet we fall lowest of the low. We fall lowest of the low. It's all about this dunya and the materialistic gain and the wealth. Whereas if you really become, I could say, saintly or godly or follow their footsteps of the Anbiyas and the Rasul, look what the capability of the human being, the potential that we have. So in a way, we're discovering ourselves. That look what things the soul and the spirit can experience. And look how I'm wasting my life in something so trivial. So like the teacher was saying earlier and yesterday, the whole perspective changes. Why you become like this, you know, the Quranic and the prophetic mentality is you don't then focus on these trivial matters, and like they say in English, tit for tat. Or he did this to me, so I have to do that to me to get my revenge. You rise above it all. Yes, you stand up for the rights of others, you know, in Islamic terms, teaching, yeah, you stand up for that. But if it's just a social or personal matter, you just, you know, ignore that. Because you got worlds to explore and discover, and the heavens to explore and discover, and achieve some of the, you know, the human potential that we have. In fact, he carries on beyond that as well. This actually then really starts the stations of servanthood, the abudiyat and abdiyat. So, for example, like one of the first stations you achieve is station of abdiyah, the servitude and the servanthood of the outer sense. Then there's another stage called the station of abudiyah. This is the station reach of the inner, that you completely become pleased with the actions and the decisions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You be completely at peace internally and externally. There is no conflict remains behind, for example. But it's completely in serene state and in a level of servitude and submission to Allah. Really, this person really lives Islam. Because that's what Islam really means. Like when you submit, then the peace comes. So this, you know, people of awliya, they really actually taste and experience this. Then there's even deeper level than that. the absolute, the complete servanthood. The abuda. Why this servanthood? Sometimes we don't really think, we think our servanthood means just a slave or a servant we have, for example, in India, Pakistan, they serve you and so on. No, the servanthood in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is one of the highest levels. In fact, if you read Surah, Isra, how does it begin? It begins with and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is calling his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his abd. So this station of abd is one of the highest levels, as is just indicated there. And then beyond that, Allah knows best what are the levels out there, and the divine mercy and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously one can achieve, inshallah. So now we can see the brief overall map. So starting from the prophetic, you could say, practices, then the cleansing of the spiritual centers, then the journey and you could say, the Miraaj really begins, and all these worlds and mukamats there to explore. Now, if you imagine someone experiences that to their effort, although we put our effort, but we do not rely on our effort. We rely on the mercy and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have trust in the guide who's taken us there, i.e. our teacher. But if someone experiences all that, what will be his outlook in life? He'll have a huge paradigm shift in his life. He will not be the same person again. It's like people, mashallah, many people have gone to Hajj for the first time. Mashallah, many people here have as well. The person, when you speak to a person who's a Haji and a non-Haji, you can tell just by conversing with them, night and day difference. When you speak to a Haji, especially when they return from Hajj now, inshallah, and you ask him, and they give live account of what they've seen, what they've done, the temperature, the flood, the storm, all these things that we saw on the news. Who's not, let's say, I've not been, for example, a person who's not been before, but we've seen all these accounts taking place. And the Haji comes back, the Hujjaj comes back, and he asks his family member, whoever, how was it? He'll explain his experiences. And the manner that he will experience, you start to taste what he says. And then if you ask him, how was it before and now? He goes, brother or sister, I cannot describe to you. I knew it's a special journey and an experience, but I've experienced now is a day and night different. It's heavens and earth difference between being there and knowing about it. So imagine spiritually to our own level, I'm not talking about any other level, our own spiritual level, if someone experiences all that, then what will be his outlook? He'll have a special understanding of the whole concept of the Sharia and Sunnah and the pillar of Iman that we have, the Akhirah, the Jannah, the Jahannam and so on and all this. There was special take in this. When we recite Surah Al-Rahman and they recite about the verses that no special blessings reserved for the pious and the righteous and the awliya, you'll have not maybe full understanding, but an idea, a glimpse. Now we're in a situation we do not know what we do not know. Now we know that what we do not know. Because in the situation now, we don't know what we don't know. Here, with this experience, you start to appreciate what you do not know, for example. Then there's a return journey. So that's the full, complete journey. After that, then you return. You turn back, return journey as well. So when you return back to the worldly Kaaba. Come back, you seek permission from everyone, give salam bidah, whoever you meet, you return back to Kaaba, do tawaf there. And then, inshallah, you come back with a gift that your salah, your prayer becomes a very special salah. You go on station of prayer. After that, then the station of zakah, charity, you go special quality you achieve that you spend time and wealth in path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the fasting that you do, that we do in Ramadan and outside Ramadan, it becomes very special fasting. It's not like every day we've been doing for the last number of years. It becomes a special fast that you do. And likewise, the tawaf you do physically, or you go to Umrah or Hajj, that becomes a special experience. Then the connection and understanding with the Quran becomes special as well. It's not always a third person anymore. It becomes first person, if you know what I mean by that. You have a personalized, personal relationship with the Quran now. Special understanding you get. Then there obviously same as special connection and relationship with the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the special presence, again going back to the presence, that you live a life living in the hudur ma'Allah, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the mercy and so on. And then after that, you return back to the Green Dome, you go back to this reverse journey from Kaaba, you go back to Masjid Nabawi, the Green Dome, and then the prophetic mosque, and in his blessed presence, and then you receive certain gifts as well from them spiritually. And then the only thing left is that you serve the community and you remain in the station of dawah and carry on until the end, inshallah, as much as you can. As much as you can reach out, maybe within your family, within your friend circles, within your neighborhood and the locality, within the city, the country, and the whole world. As much as you can. It's not about this person done that much, how much can you do, it's how much you can do to the best of your ability, inshallah. So this is the full journey. Quickly, just a brief. All these diagrams, inshallah, is in your the booklet, the book which is given out yesterday. That's why Ustad Majid was emphasizing again and again. The book may look simple, very small in size, but in terms of information and the knowledge is very highly valuable in there. All this is explained there as well. So inshallah, I can refer back to in the future as well. So some of the assumptions and obstacles, I think it's been mentioned, main ones. I will quickly touch upon a few of the ones as well, inshallah, that you don't have to be a scholar as such, an alim, to have this experience. Yes, you have to have a basic knowledge of fiqh and aqeedah and so on, and inshallah, then you can experience some of these things. And also that, one has to go through the points of the teaching, inshallah. So for example, all these points is covered yesterday, so I'm not going through all them. Point 2, 3, 4 is covered yesterday as well by Ustad Majid. So I shall swiftly move on from this, inshallah. And the number 4 is very important, like he had said yesterday. So submitting to the teacher to continue on the path. Not have a bad opinion of the teacher. Not giving priority instructions. That's very important. Why our brother Zafar is always giving instruction to do this or not to do this is because by following the instructions, then he helps you to understand and follow through the whole system, inshallah. So I'll quickly go through these things. Some of the process in itself, the obstacles. Sometimes we have the expectation something to happen very quickly, and we become impatient or easily frustrated. Also know that do not become frustrated. We have until end of Monday night to achieve something. Within that process, there will be ups and downs. You might be one session have very good, you have certain experience. You might be one session that you completely blank, you cannot see anything, you cannot follow, you do not remember. So don't be disheartened straight away. Bear with patience, rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and trust in the ustads who are following. And inshallah, at the end, you shall experience something by the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. Okay? So I'll quickly go a few other, and not to give up, that's very important. Don't be lazy, follow. And some of the other mention I will continue as well afterwards as well. So I'll quickly go through. So some of the, I'll quickly show you the list. The responsibility and the task of the teacher are many. So for example, as you can see from the teacher, they have to ensure there's a permission for the seeker is sought, that they have to ensure the seeker understands the practice, the methodology, how it's done, and how to guide them and give him guidance. Any spiritual help when someone is traveling, if they're struggling, or if they cannot achieve what they want to achieve, to give the spiritual help. Also spiritual company. That you're journeying, they're getting lost in the way, to give the spiritual company, that's also important. We've already mentioned about obstacles. But what we said about obstacles, they're like the major ones. Sometimes they're individual ones as well, where one needs to sit one-to-one with our asatizahs as well as our teacher and discuss very specific, very personal ones that I cannot mention in public. So to help to remove this as well. Then also interpret. Now this in itself, that science of interpretation of visions, that's also a very special gift. It's not like you can open a book and study and that's it, I know how to interpret. No, it's a special gift. It's a Wahhabi knowledge. It's a God-gifted knowledge that they have to also perform that so that you get the right understanding, right practice. So that goes to show that when you do have a spiritual experience, do not act upon or interpret yourself, because you do not know there are so many pitfalls out there you might fall into. So that's why this is the role of the teacher to do so. Then obviously they take the souls of the seeker to different stations and muqamat, which I've mentioned earlier now. Taking the seeker to the prophetic, to the hudur and the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and obviously toward the divine presence as well. The role of the seeker, the person who are here to learn, is only one: to learn and train in the methodology to transfer his spirit to the spiritual body, which we'll explain inshallah, and then transfer and continue going through that journey, following the teacher and trusting in him. That's the only thing you have to do. All the other 10 lists, that's for the role of the teacher to go through. For us, people like myself and those who are participating, this is the only thing we have to do, inshallah. And then obviously we seek permission with the teacher accompanying them, salutation and so on, and the journey begins. So I'll quickly move on some of these points we've covered already. There are actually this witnessing, this mushahada and the muraqabah we do, and the spiritual experience. Really, I can summarize into 3 things. But really, there are actually 20 realizations that you can achieve. So everyone can achieve at one level. So for example, level 1 would be that you familiarize with yourself with the order, like the map I've just shown you. The number 2, have some kind of understanding. You can follow quite easily, verbal clarity. Then you can complete the whole process through imagination. That's very important. I'll mention in the next segment. I'm not going to touch upon too much on this aspect. You can complete with imagination. Then you can start to feel. You cannot see, but you can feel. Feeling is very powerful means of experiencing as well. Then the imagination becomes clear with the spiritual experience of it. Then it becomes colorful, this experience. Then it becomes like you see a picture in the mind, level 7. Then it becomes like a vague dream you're watching. Then it becomes like that dream becomes more clearer as well after that. Then it's like as though you're watching a movie or a film. After that, then what happens? Then there are more levels. Then there becomes 3-dimensional image, like as though you're inside of it. Then the scenes tend to happen. You're meant to do something, naturally is going to something else of the spiritual experience. Then the clarity naturally increases. Then it's as though you feel as though it's reality. You can't tell the difference between whether it's spiritual experience or the real life. Then he feels that person feels his spirit is still there in that gathering. They've ended the session and he's walking around, maybe going to bathroom or eating, and he's as though feels as though he's there, for example. That's at the level 15. Then the level 16 is that this person becomes such that his eyes are open, like we had the hadith in the morning, or yesterday rather, about Sayyidina Haritha, that he as though he's living the world. He was explaining to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam of the level of iman that he has. Is as though his eyes are open, but he can see the reality of the unseen, of the heaven and the hell and so on. And then he comes to a point where even if the state becomes sometimes unintended, intending and it's happening, it becomes more and more frequent. Then this transfer, which I'll explain, now we actively go through the full process. It comes to a point where you don't even need that. You just automatically happens to you as well. Then the number 20, last one, you continuously witness this world and the unseen world at the same time. Can you imagine that person if we reach that level 20, for example? So I'll very briefly brush through all of them. I don't expect you to even remember all the 20 points. It's in the book. The main thing is that the purpose of going through them is that whatever you do experience, inshallah, that there's always a level above that you can experience. So 2 things. Never think that, oh, no, it's not for me, it's not happening, I'm doomed for failure. No, always be hopeful in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what this 20 is shown. The same time, if you reach a level, then the thought comes in, oh, I've done it now. I've reached that, say, I can. Then what happens is, you tend to slide back as well. Know that if you reach one level, you can push yourself, inshallah, by the mercy and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go to the next level as well, inshallah. It's never ending. So that's why this is shown, for you to have aspiration and continue, inshallah, in this journey. So far what I've covered is all theory and the map. I've not gone through how to actually kickstart, like we kickstart, for example, the car. When the car stalls, sometimes we need help, external help with the external, what you call a power lead, and kickstart it. That's a methodology, a process we go through, inshallah, next session after a very, very short break. But so far, if you have any quick question you want to clarify from what I've covered, you did not understand or you want me to explain, then I can give you a couple of minutes literally. If not, then swiftly we want to go to the next point, because really our aim is, inshallah, we want to have our first session of practice done and have an experience so far before the rest time. I think the rest time is at 6?
5, 6, yeah.
Okay, 6 o'clock. So we got about 2 hours and 10 minutes. In that, I'll go through the methodology so that you understand the process, how it happens, and so on. And then, inshallah, we'll have another short break and we'll begin the spiritual session of practice, inshallah. Yes, very quick one.
Yes, sir. You know that level 20?
Yeah.
Does that mean there's some people who are constantly doing unseen, but they're still in dunya 24/7?
That's what it says, yes. Continuously witnessing this world and the unseen world at the same time. The highest awliya, if you read the biography, sometimes it's a strange matter. It was said by one of the mashayikh of Shadli Silsila. He actually said that this is their love and express. That if they feel as though a moment passes not witnessing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to feel as though that iman had gone. That's the level of conviction they had experienced and the realization they've achieved and the great opening of fath. That even if a moment had passed and they're not experiencing the presence and the huzuri of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to feel as though I've lost iman. So that's what I was saying earlier, that human beings have a special potential. Remember, we are mimicking physically the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we at our own level, everyone at their own level, we at our own level have this potential, you see. But unfortunately what happens is, for the vast majority, we come as a potential, we live as a potential, and we die as a potential. We never manifest it. It's as though we returned packaged unopened. That's the reality of our situation, you see. And we now want to, in this session, want to open the package and see for itself what's out there, inshallah. Okay, so you want to quickly stand up, maybe just let the blood flow. Yes? This is going to Hakli, again, of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to different levels, yeah. I'm just giving you like a bullet point of all 20 points. Yeah. No, Hakli, again, towards the end. Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's right. Latest, we're going to start by 4:45. Just call Brother Sajid, yeah?
Brother Sajid.
Ustad Sajid.
No, you can sit back down. We're not having a break. Yeah, we're not having a break. Or we're having a break. Just stretch your legs to sit down. Okay? No. You'll be giving opportunity to fresh people when we do the actual practical stuff. Okay, sit yourself back down.
I think this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do it in such a way.
They will need to get on a good break.
No, 5 minutes is a long break. 5 minutes. You can start by 4:40. 4:40. You're going to start. So you go good.
Yeah. I think the next one will be a little break.
10 minutes max.
This one will be so.
10 minutes max. 4:40 you start.
Okay, do it.
Yeah, I'm going to skip so many things. Which
Some
will
other
be
stuff you don't know.
Yeah, I'm just going to go straight to the type itself. That's it, go straight into it. Because some of those in my way, the obstacles and all that stuff, not to do that as much.
No, you don't have to.
I'm going to go to the 3 level of experience and then straight into this. After the practice, there will be. Yeah. So we'll give about 8-10 minutes.
If brothers can start sitting back down again, and the ones who have left the room to come back inside, inshallah, after this next theory session, you will be given the opportunity to go freshen up, do wudu, have a quick snack, because that will be the main practical session.
I have quick fruit and a glass of water, whatever. You mentioned that actually. I'm just telling you, not for the audience. I'm going to do by about half one.
Okay, we are ready. Well, the teachers are ready. I don't know about the students. So just a reminder for the brothers to come back into the main prayer hall, please. Because again, this part is very, very important. Because when you do the practical session, you have to know the exact methodology of how to transfer. And that's exactly what Dr. Shahalom is going to go through now. The methodology for you to be able to spiritually transfer your ruh and be able to travel. Okay, over to you, Dr. Shahalom.
So you might have just so as you can see, this is like an animation. It's very important to, even if before I say anything, if you can settle that in your mind, then mashallah you're halfway there of what I'm going to say. This is indicating some of the spiritual centers or the latifas exist, or the lataif, the 7 I mentioned, and the colors. I'll go through again, but it's shown in the 3D image that's rotating. So inshallah, I'll begin now, inshallah. So now the methodology, inshallah, explain. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Are we all here with the farah? Is anyone missing? Have they gone for a break or anything? Everyone's here. Yeah. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, they'll join us soon, inshallah. We're pressing with time as well. So inshallah, the methodology is that we want to have a spiritual experience to the energy centers which are situated in the body, as the image before that, the animation shown. So you have an idea now. So what I'll do is I will go through at a rate where I think is important to spend time on. So I will maybe go at a fast rate some of the slides and focus on those slides which will help you to understand, and then we can practice. Now this point here about the 5 foundational practices, inshallah, Ustad Harun will continue with this after Asr Salah, and this is very important. As he was saying, these are the prerequisites to have this experience, inshallah. So I will not spend too much time on. From yesterday, the objective was set for us was to see and taste, as well as all the other objectives and aims people have mentioned, which are good, but specifically for this, as far as this retreat is concerned, we want to see and taste the spiritual experience of it. Okay, so I'll quickly go through them. So it's like a rocket now about to launch. So you're gonna, just before the rocket is launched, we are at the launch pad, and we're just preparing. The astronauts just about to embark upon the rocket, and inshallah we'll be launching soon after the break, inshallah. And inshallah, firstly we'll be going towards Medina Sharif, inshallah. So before this quick break, we are mentioned about the 20 level of realization. Okay, but we have to start somewhere, and it is always best, it is advisable, and then it's actually the sunnah, I could say, the practice of the Mashaykh and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that if we go at a pace or expectation from the person who's maybe the slowest or the least of the pack, so to speak, then in that way everyone able to understand and follow, and then those who can traverse naturally and continue, they can also continue as well. What I mean by that is this 20 realization point I mentioned earlier. We're going to start from the very basic. This is because so that you do not sideline or reject any of them, because each one becomes the means to the next one. And why I'm actually emphasizing this point now, it'll be very clear, is that we have this feedback again and again. They get disappointed because what they wish to happen is not happening, because they tend to skip or ignore the first couple of steps. So what are the first couple of steps? So first one, he says, this experience can be done at the 3 level. This Ainul Yaqeen, now focus on the word Ainul Yaqeen, the eye of certainty. That could be done in 3 levels. Okay, so this is the point I'm trying to say. The Ainul Yaqeen we want to achieve, that could be done on how many? 3 levels as well. So if you break that down, Ainul Yaqeen, that's also 3 levels it can have. So, and some of them are in your control, and some of them which are not in your control. So what's the wise thing to do? Is to start with something which is in your control. Yeah? We start with that point, which is a starting point. Then slowly, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, takes you to the point where, inshallah, which is not in your control, and then goes to the whole 20 points. For us in this retreat, it's not to go to all 20 points. No. This is for your own personal endeavors and journey you reach, inshallah. For us, is to get you started to have see and taste at the level of Ainul Yaqeen, inshallah. So what's in your control? Number 1, thinking level, thought level. Not to be sidelined. That is also a process that starts. This thinking, the power of thinking, it has a link with the spirit. So this is only like a very tiny fraction of the power of the spirit, which is the thinking. It's as though like a small window. When you open that window, then the whole world is in front of you. So the thought and the mind and the brain, how it thinks, is actually a small portion power of thinking. Now imagine this. If by thinking, we can achieve so many things in this world. Because why? The philosophers and the scientists, even the phone we have, for example, or the iPhones, where did they start from? They initially planned it. They thought about it. They had a drawing map. Then they start working on, okay, what's out there, what material out there we can utilize for now, what's not out there as a technology that we have to develop. All this comes after. So the same concept here, we start with the thought level. That's in your control. The number 2 is imagination level. i.e., you can imagine things. That's also not to be sidelined. It is also part of a skill, you could say, that helps you to unlock to the higher realms, higher doors. So in a way, it is very logical. We're starting at a point where no one can say, I cannot do. No one can say, I cannot think, I cannot imagine. But this is only a starting point, remember, of Ainul Yaqeen. Then what's not in your control, and inshallah will happen, due course inshallah, is the spiritual level, level 3. The spiritually start to experience some of these spiritual journey and so on, inshallah. Okay? So this is in Ainul Yaqeen, these are the 3 things, inshallah. Mainly we'll be focusing on in this retreat. And then inshallah there'll be actually follow-up retreats as well we normally do. At least minimum 3 if you attend of these things, then you're on the road to your own journey. Especially reach the spiritual level 3 inshallah by the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to start somewhere, then become quite, competent at it, that you understand, then you become prolific at it after the 3rd retreat, inshallah. So these are in the Ainul Yaqeen, these are the 3, inshallah. So mindset and so on, as I mentioned yesterday, that first of all, you have the pure intention, the pure thought of intention of niyyah, of why we're doing this. Ultimately, we want the closeness and pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the 3 keys, the huzuri, the presence. Very easily, the many sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we can remember Him with. But at least the 3, for example, Allah is with me. Allah is seeing me. Allah is hearing me. Those are the 3 minimum ones we utilize again and again. And then inshallah, before we begin, inshallah, we give you time as well that we do 2 rakat salatul haja, prayer, nafal, namaz of need, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First of all, this is our starting point. Oh Allah bless us that we want to embark upon this journey. We'll do whatever we can, but we do not rely on our own effort. We are weak, we're helpless, we rely on you. So make dua and we begin inshallah. So very quickly moving on. And then what we do is, when we begin with the protection amal. This is very important. Why? Because we want to embark upon the spiritual journey. No doubt, shaitan and shayateen, they have become enraged and also very angry that they think they had this group of people, human being, Muslims especially, under their control to deceive and to make them, to destroy them. And very slowly, we're slipping away from their fingers, from the tentacles. So they become naturally more angry than others. And they will normally try to, obviously, that's a normal process, not to be worried at the same time. But if you seek protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and adopt the means, we have nothing to worry about. So for this, inshallah, we have the mashaykh and the teachers as a support and backing as well. For the protection, we recite at the beginning with the tongue and with the heart, Surah Fatiha once, Ayatul Kursi once, 3 quls at the end in that order. Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. And then we blow our hand and rub it against our body. Then, before anything else, we have a certain mindset, certain muraqabahs we do, which are 3. Number 1 is we go in the state of humbleness. I know we had a discussion yesterday with Ustaad Majid. What is humbleness? This is one definition, especially those who were inquisitive yesterday. One of humbleness is that you admit, we admit our weakness, our shortcomings. That's one state of humbleness. That we admit, yes, I'm weak, I'm sinful, I cannot worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves. Rather, I cannot even worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within the potential and the capability I have. One thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rights, we can never, for example, fulfill this endless. One thing, I have a certain capability I can do if I really push myself, if I discipline myself. Sometimes we're not even doing that. So we're even showing our humbleness, our submission, tawazu to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding this as well. And so in this respect, we're seeking forgiveness and show our humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first thing we do. First thinking, inshallah. All this, what I'm explaining, when we do a guided tour by one of our ustad, inshallah, he will go through a reminder of all these points. So don't worry, inshallah, you don't have to remember it now. And then the second muraqabah, second thinking, deep thinking you do is you go in the state of gratefulness. Shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shukri of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so many blessings given, which I cannot count. And one by one, like we did in muraqabah dua in the morning, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the biggest blessing in our life, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, He is our Rabb. That's the greatest blessing, for example. And so on, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, family, ustads, and so on. That's what we do, inshallah. Then the third one we do is we show our reliance, tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That really we cannot transfer or travel to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or to reach to the maqam and the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by His fadl, grace and mercy, He will take us to Him, to His closeness. We are the doer, yes, but we do not rely on our amals, our deeds. We rely on Him to take us to His closeness. That's a very, very important point. That we show our ajzi and rely upon and tawakkul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After that, then we start with the lataif amals, this latifa, the spiritual centers. Now this aspect, in the next 20 minutes or so, I will mainly focus on this because this is the crux, the actual thing that you'll be practicing. If you understand this well, if you understand and grasp the concept well, then when it comes to the practice, in about, let's say, 45 minutes time, you should be able to follow. And then everything will unlock thereafter, inshallah. Okay? So the full attention is very necessary here. All this what I said so far, if you don't remember, that's fine. I don't mind. But this is important. So what we do is we start with the adhkars like we did yesterday. We start Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, then we do Astaghfar 3 times to wash away our sins. Then recite Salawat upon Nabi, Durood Sharif upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 3 times. Then we show again our humbleness and rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to prevent any shaitanic influences by reciting La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah 3 times. And then what the Ustad will do, they'll say, now inshallah, this is shown an image of all the 7 latifa exist, where they're situated in our body. Lataif obviously is plural, latifa is singular. So spiritual centers, it may be easy to say. So the red one is situated below the navel, in the modesty area. The orange one, as you can see, is situated in your belly button, actually on the navel itself. The yellow one is situated in your stomach, above your belly button, where the stomach is. The green one, as you can see, is situated in your center of your chest. There are all the other latifas we know about, but for the simplicity to easiest to follow, these are the 7 major ones we focus. And the other ones also take effect as well. We shall not go into that. So that's the green one is where? It's situated in the center of your chest. Then there's a light blue, as you can see. It is situated in your throat area. Okay? Adam's apple. Then there's a dark blue indigo situated between your eyes, forehead area. Then there's a white one, as you can see, hovering. This is the crown latifa, crown spiritual center. So for example, like I'm wearing white turban in the Imam Sharif. So it's above the head, slightly above, hovering, is the white one. And it's a huge, beautiful name, Allah in white, as you can see. When we begin, the beginning one is known as the preparation latifa, which is the white one, as you can see. So before that, I think if I can just quickly, so again, it's going through the red. So red one here. So I'm not going to go to the description of it, because I'd rather you just understand and know, remember the colors, and the description and the more realities comes only after. Many people who have sat here for 2, 3, whatever, 4 years, learning and practicing, when they've learned initially, they did not have to, or they did not even know the realities, what they are. What does red mean? What does the orange mean? It's many years after they've actually learned. But that did not stop them from actually experiencing and journeying. So sometimes we go too much after the letter of the law and forget the spirit of the law. See what I'm saying? So that's why we, for this session, as far as we're concerned, we're not going to go through the description. The full name, description, what it means is all there. But I don't want you to get confused and focus the task at hand. So then the orange one comes in the like I said, in the navel. Go again, skip all that. Then the yellow one, as you can, stomach area. Then the green one in the chest area. Then the light blue in your throat. Dark blue in your face or forehead. Then the white one, crown one, as you can see, crown of the head. Okay. I'll skip all that. Now, this image is important. What it's showing is, if you recall the animation that was going around 360 degrees, these are not the spots. From the frontal point of view, if I just show you, it looks like round spots in your body. But now if I show you a cross section, the sideway, as you can see, it actually goes across like a pipe. So it connects you from the front to the back. Is that everyone clear with this? A very important concept to understand. That it's not just a round spot at the front, but imagine like a pipe of different colors connecting from you from the front right to from your back. So quickly I can ask you, Brother Sufyan, are you just going to stand here for me, please? First of all, just stand there and face towards the audience. So if you just place your hand where your belly button is, imagine the belly button is the orange one, yeah? So that's where the orange spot is, the round spot. Now slowly turn 90 degrees. Okay? Now imagine that it is going across. You can see a pipe going across, and place your hand at the back. Imagine that the orange one is coming out at the back there, where his left hand is. Can you all see? So now you can say, for example, show me the green one, what it would be. It's going to be difficult to reach at the top, yeah. Yeah? So that's what we mean a cross section. Can you see? So likewise, you can go from the bottom one all the way to the throat. You can show the throat one easier for you. Yeah? And then the forehead one. No, forehead one, yeah. And the top one just hovers like that. Okay? Is that easy to understand? When we say light is going from the front and going from the back, that's what it's referring to. It's going across you like that. Okay? So important. So yeah, thank you for that. Jazakallah. So the image is trying to illustrate this point here. Okay? So when we begin with the preparation one, the white one, which is in the top of our head, the crown one. So what the Ustad will say is, imagine the name Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala white in color and take a deep breath in, and the light is flowing from the top latifa all the way down right to the bottom one. So you clearly can see in the image, very easy to understand concepts. I would really encourage everyone to stay alert or the nudge person next to you, because if he fails to understand that because of the whatever, make it tired, whatever it is, then all the other session we'll be doing, maybe we'll not have time to go through in detail. And then you always like be questioning, oh, have I done this right? Have I done that right? So important that just, help ourselves, help our brother as well, inshallah. And just to remind them so that if maybe give them a glass of water while they're listening, they can drink so they're refreshed, inshallah. So that's the first one. We will take a deep breath in. How do you take a deep breath in? That's a question as well. We take a deep breath in with our nose, not with the mouth. Mouth is closed. Deep breath in with our mouth. The light is going down. You imagine. Don't worry, is that really happening or not? No. Like I said, you don't have to worry. At the thought level, thinking level, or imagination level, you're doing this. Okay, deep breath goes in. So I will skip some of the writing mentioned there. So very mentioning. So, and then what you do is, you take a deep breath out. And the light is now going back up from your system. Like as you breathe out, the carbon dioxide comes out as though the light is coming out, and you exhaling all the dirt from inside, all the worries, all the tension, anything that is bothering you, that could distract you, you're releasing everything from your mouth. Worries, tension, anything, or even any darkness you feel you have, you all the way like a balloon filling up and then releasing it all. So this is known as a preparation latifa, spiritual center, as you can see there. Okay? So that's the first one. This process is unique, is different. I will now explain all the other ones, including the white one again. Process for those are different. This is unique. This is the only one is separate because it's a preparation one. You're getting your whole system energized to kickstart the whole process. Are we all okay so far? If you have any quick answer just on that question, if you have anything. If you understood, that's fine. Yes? Yeah, it will be step by step again, inshallah. This is mainly so that you can visually see when the Ustad explains, you can visually relate to what is he talking about. Okay? So, time, don't worry about the time. Now what happens is, then we begin all the 7. So number 1 is, we start from the red one, right at the bottom, below the navel. Can you see? It's showing a cross section. And you can see the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will say, imagine it's become very beautiful, red in color, which signifies you focusing on your red spiritual center, red latifa. So then he will ask, take a deep breath in. So as you take a deep breath in, the light comes down, descends, and now it doesn't go through the system, it goes through your nose. Very important to understand this. It goes through your nose, as you take a deep breath in with your nose, and light comes down. It comes down in front of you, and where the red latifa is, below your navel, that spot I was talking to you about at the front, it enters. And then you take a deep breath out with your mouth. And the light slowly traverses, goes back, and releases from the back. That's all you have to remember. That's why I'm not complicating you with the theory and what's going on, what's the technical, spiritual detail, what happens when you do this. Because that just confuses everyone. In this stage, like I said, many people are practicing this, only then they discovered some of the deeper meaning of it. But that never stopped him from experiencing. Okay? So for now, simply, you would take a deep breath in with your nose. The light from the name, Allah, red light in this case, because the red latifa below your navel, it enters, goes through your nose, goes down, for example, of your breathing pipe. And then where the red one is below your navel, it enters there. And then you start to take a deep breath out with your mouth, and the light just leaves from the back. As Brother Sufyan showed with his back hand, is leaving there. Quickly moving on. So he's all explaining there. Okay, so it's a only thing you can, if you want to know, very inquisitive, what's happening, I want to know. Yeah, it's a cleansing effect. It's cleaning out. That's all you need to know. Because you want to charge your soul to travel, but you got all these blockages now inside. You might like a barbed wires. I need to clean all that so that the spirit then can leave quite quickly. That's what you're doing. Okay? So then after the red one, we go on to the orange one. Now the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in orange in color, as you can see, very beautifully lit in the sky. Imagine, as I'm saying, see if you can imagine. Don't close your eyes, see if you can follow. Imagine above the masjid. As you take a deep breath in again, the light is entering through your nose, it's going down, trickling down, and where the orange latifa is in your navel or belly button, if people understand this, belly button, navel, is entering there at the front of it. And you keep breathing in with your nose. Then you take a deep breath out with your mouth, and the light is then exiting from the back at the same level. So it's slightly gone up now. Firstly it was there, now it's gone up there because it's the same level as the pipe. So this pipe is very straight, horizontal, yeah? Very easy to understand. So that, Ustad will take some time. So timing, you do not worry how long do I spend on each one. This is the role of the Ustad and the teachers. They will spend time. Afterwards, when you depart from here, they'll explain to you what is the recommended time you spend in your own, inshallah. Okay, moving on. If you understand this, then we go into the yellow one. Same concept, nothing difficult. The name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now becomes very yellow, beautifully yellow in color. As you take a deep breath in with your nose, light descends. It comes down and enters through your nose as well, as you can see in the image. You continue breathing in, and the light is going down, 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 until it comes to the stomach, where the stomach latifa is at the front, and it enters there, and you start to take a deep breath out with your mouth. So deep breath out, and the light leaves from the back. Again, cleaning what's happening, whatever's inside darkness is there. That's all you need to know, inshallah. So you do that for a period of time, okay? Very easy concept. Like I said, nothing complicated. I'm not even asking you to make notes because it's all in the book. And also, they'll be guided tour very shortly, inshallah, so you don't have to worry about that as well. Just so that you can imagine, you can focus, you can relate to when Ustad is saying one aspect or the other. Okay? Then moving on to the green one. Green, the color of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also changes. In this case, it changed into very beautiful green in color. You again take a deep breath in with your nose, light descends, comes down like a rain or a waterfall, enters through your nose, goes down, and where the green latifa in your chest is, it enters there. And goes through your chest, and you take a deep breath out, and then you're back at the same level at the back. The light exits or leaves as you breathe out. Okay? Are you all okay? I'm not giving you much ask you to ask questions, because if it's easy concept, then it's easy. I don't want to complicate it by giving you too many questions to ask as well. Keep the concept very simple and clean and easy to follow, as is shown. If you can understand this process, as I'm saying, then that's it. You've got the understanding. You can just matter of practice now very shortly. Okay? Next one is, what's after green? I can ask you that. Abdullah? Abdul Rahman? Okay, good. That's good as well. Then you know what the next one, you're going to focus more now, inshallah. The next one is the light blue. Where is it? Throat, easy to understand. Yeah, throat area, that's right, you're right, yeah. Throat area. Again, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the color changes into light blue in color. As you breathe in and the light descends, comes down, again it enters through your nose, it's a short journey, goes down, and where the throat is, it goes inside of that. And then you take a deep breath out, the light leaves from the neck, back of the neck is leaving, as you can see. Back of the neck, the light is leaving. So you do that for a period of time with the Ustads. He'll guide you one after another, inshallah. He'll explain. As you wanted to relate the colors and the situation of the Lataif, spiritual centers, where they are, what color it is, and how to do the process itself. That's all you need to worry about for now. All the theories we're mentioning for the one and a half days, forget everything if you have to. If you can remember one thing, if you ask me, brother, I'm not good at remembering things, what can I remember? One thing, I suggest this one, this process for now. Inshallah. Because then we can start the practice, you can follow, and then everything that comes after, inshallah. We'll obviously repeat and remind so that it settles in our mind. After that, name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next one, brother Muazzim, what's the next one? Which is color? Which color? Indigo or dark blue? Dark blue. If it's easy to understand dark blue, that's fine. Dark blue, which is the forehead, so it goes across to the back of your mind. So here again, you take a deep breath in, light comes down from the dark blue, enters to the forehead, and as you breathe out, light leaves from the back of the head. Simple as that. Okay? You take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is dark blue. You take a deep breath in, light comes down, enters through your forehead, the latifa, and then take a deep breath out with your mouth, and the light leaves from the back of your head. Very simple concept. Cleaning everything in your mind as well. Okay? After that, now we repeat the white one again. But this time, we do this white one same as all the other colors. There's no different this time. So this is same as the other colors. When we did at the beginning, is known as preparation. It's a unique one. It goes through everything. Here, it does not. It just goes through as with all the other colors. So the white, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes white in color. You take a deep breath in, light comes down and enters to the white latifa from the front, here, for example, above the head like a crown. And then it goes through, and then as you take a deep breath out with your mouth, the light leaves from the back of that latifa there. Okay? So those are the 7 we'll practice, inshallah, for a while. Then what's going to happen is, after a while, you continuously keep breathing in and out. And then again, the Ustad will say, now light is now penetrating. Again, like the preparation one, going through all of your system. But this time is eliminating all 7. Before, you're getting rid of the tension, the worries, and the darknesses. Now, all of them have been cleansed and you eliminating, like you're filling it up like a balloon with the light. And all of them lit up. So it's like a multicolor light. All the ones, red, yellow, green, like a rainbow, they're all lit up. They're all shining now. You take a deep breath in, light goes all the way down, and then when you take deep breath out, the light goes back up. So it goes down, goes back up. Goes down, goes back up. So this is the next step. So again, you continuously breathe. Imagine the light is cleansing a vertical column. That light goes down from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, white one, goes all the way, and it lights up, illuminates all 7 of them, all 7 multicolor. So you can see the light becomes multicolor as well. Because it's touching all enlightened, all cleansed latifa, they all become multicolored. Okay? So you become like a rainbow, you continue for a while. Then what the Ustad will tell you, inshallah, is like it's going up and down, the light is flowing. Okay, so then he will tell you slowly, the next step he will tell you that imagine your whole body is becoming lighter, and is disappearing. It's as though, remember the word, you're thinking is as though it's disappearing. Your body is disappearing now. Light going up and down, multicolor light, your body is slowly disappearing. To the point where you feel as though your body has disappeared. Only the lataif and the breathing that you're doing and your ruh exist, nothing else there. Everybody has disappeared. And you carry on breathing in and out. And then what's going to happen is, if I just kindly go back, then slowly what's going to happen, the next stage after disappearing of your body, the Ustad will say slowly, one by one, your lataif are disappearing, or latifas are disappearing one by one, as though switching off, and it's just becoming vanished, as you can show, as you can see in the image. Start from the red one, disappear, the orange will disappear, the yellow disappear, the green, the light blue, dark blue, and the white one slowly will disappear. Only thing will be left is your ruh inside and your breath and the white light inside of it. Okay? So only thing left is your spirit, your ruh inside, and your breathing. All white now. Light is traveling inside. And then you'll be asked to imagine a spiritual body of yourself in front of you. This is like looking at a mirror of yourself. This is like, for example, having a twin brother. Just an image, shakal outside, shakal image is enough. Like you see in the image, that as though there's another body in front of you which is like you. That's all you have to imagine. Okay? Another copy of yourself, but this is an enlightened, light one, body in front of you. And then you keep taking deep breath. Deep breath in and out of your mouth, and the light is going up and down, up and down. Then a point come, the Ustad will say, now be ready to take a golden breath and transfer everything from yourself onto the spiritual body. This is called transfer. You transfer your final breath. And it's transferred now onto the spiritual body. This is known as transfer. And with this, your soul, your ruh, your spirit goes into the spiritual body. It as though it's left your body. This is known as transfer in English. Final breath. After that, the breathing exercises stops. You don't have to do that. Obviously, you have to continue breathing to function your body, for example. But the practice stops, inshallah. There might be a time where that you don't even realize you're breathing anymore because you transferred really with your soul and you switched off from your body altogether. That happens as well. And Ustad will decipher or explain if that's happening to you in the session. Maybe you go to sleep or spiritually you transfer. So one of two possibilities that could happen as well. Some people just fall asleep because they're tired. Then you had a nice sleep, mashallah, that's fine. Other option is that some people really have spiritually transferred. And the result of that is they don't feel anything. They just body completely went numb. So that's really taking place. And vast majority what happens is it happens at the imagination level. So I'll give you an example of 3 already now before the session, inshallah. So after the transfer, very quickly, what you do is you find a teacher. Like you've been hearing for the day and a half now, or almost a day, is that in this exercise, exercise here, in this retreat, the main things we agree now and accept the teacher, our teacher, Hazrat Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, that we imagine that as soon as we transferred, we are in the company, in the presence of the teacher. And this is not a hard concept. You can just simply imagine how it is. For example, as soon as you transfer to your spiritual body, you look for the teacher. In that imagination level, for example, or spiritual level, whichever one you're experiencing. That concept, I'm going to skip through all that. I wanted to show you an image, unfortunately. So some people, they find it hard to understand. So what do you mean, Ustad, brother, when you said that, I want to spiritually transfer, find my teacher. I cannot find him. He's all blank. Simply what you do is soon as you transfer, imagine you with the teacher now, who's been leading namaz, prayers all the time, leading dhikr and bayan and so on, Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh. Just imagine that image, that picture you have in mind, especially for the ladies in the ladies retreat, those watching live on the internet. Simply just, it's not a difficult concept. People are watching live from home. Just imagine the teacher, beside you in spiritual sense. That's all. Just the image of it. That's the main thing you have to do. Then the teacher, in the company of teacher, sometimes you find as though there are other brothers with you as well. There arwahs there. That you find yourself, you're traveling. Whichever the mode you travel like in the sky with the teacher company, like a ball of light. You travel and you carry on. And adab is you pay homage or respect to the mashayikh. Like, you have to thank them to Allah Ta'ala's blessing. To Allah Ta'ala bless you more. You go to, for example, the image here shown here, you go to, for example, one of our mashayikh, Shaykh Sayyidina Abdul Aziz ad-Dabbagh, rahimahullah. We go and give our due respect and thank him for this. Then after that, the teacher will then take us in the company. Sometimes this is the mazar. Those who don't know, this is the tomb and the mazar of Shaykh Sayyidina Abdul Aziz ad-Dabbagh, rahimahullah, in Fas, Morocco. Where you could say the Grand Mashayikh, one of the major Mashayikh of the Silsila of Tariqa Muhammadiyah of the who taught these things, they reside there currently. Now in the Mazaris there, for example. Then after that, the teacher sometimes they'll take you to other buzurgs, other awliya. Like for example, another awliya of this path who taught us is Sheikh Sayyidina Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, radiyallahu anhu, rahmatullahi alayhi. And also other mashayikh, maybe Imam Abu Hassan al-Shazali and so on. Then after that, eventually, inshallah, then the journey takes place. We go and present ourselves in Masjid Nabawi, outside the courtyard here. So there you can see image that the Babul Baki is there, the Jannatul Baki behind it, and we approach usually towards where the feet Mubarak is pointing towards as an adab. We go then approach, give our salam, with utmost respect and awe and love, and then inshallah eventually seek permission, and then continue with our journey. Remember the map I showed you earlier. So as much as you can, it's not necessary to go to the whole map. No, the thing is just to even if you reach there, for example, then that's fine. Then after that, inshallah, then we should spend time with the teacher, give salam and so on. And then from there we transfer and we go to Makkah Sharif and in front of Kaaba, as you can see. And we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there. And then see the light is illuminating, is coming from the Kaaba and hitting our face, our body. And then sometimes also it's shown that we actually go inside of the Kaaba. Because remember, the power of the Spirit is not limited. It can penetrate walls. It can not only penetrate walls, it can also go back in time, in the past, or go in the future as well. This is the power of the soul. Remember the thought I said that instantly, if I tell you to think about moon, you can think about moon. So you have, for example, you have the imagination of the moon. But imagine now when the soul travels, how fast you could do instantly. Like in the morning in the park, we had asked the question that, the Jannah between, let's say, your relation, yourself, inshallah, we ask Allah to bless us all. There could be like stars and heavens difference. How are we going to transfer? How long will it take? Even the light is not enough. In the normal common sense, the light years, the speed of light is the fastest thing. And if you travel at the speed of light for 1 year, still, it takes you millions of light years to reach another galaxy. The normal science understanding of physics, for example. But in there, it's beyond that, like a Burak example is given, instantly can transfer and go to that other Jannah. So like this, spiritually, this could happen as well. So inside of the Kaaba, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do Allah, Allah dhikr, whatever the Ustad says. The light is hitting, the light coming from the heavens, the tajalli is coming down to the Kaaba, going inside of you and so on. And then the journey continues. So the images come now, for example, if you want to image the teacher, for example, images there shown there. When you transfer, look for the teacher, just have the image in your mind. That's sufficient, for example, like it's shown here, for example. And then inshallah after that, you go to from the Kaaba to Masjid Aqsa and so on. Maybe in this first session, maybe the Ustad will take you to a certain journey. But the main thing is the Lataif practices. This first session we'll be doing now very soon. Is the practices, these practices, inshallah, and transfer. If you can do the practices and do this part and find the teacher, then alhamdulillah, you've done well in the first gathering itself. Now all the other levels and maqamats comes after, inshallah. Now I think there's many other things that some of them have already covered. I don't think I'd have to repeat all that, inshallah. So without further ado, any quick question, anything that you did not understand, especially of this aspect? Any question regarding this? Yeah. So the white one, as Ustad will explain to you, imagine the name Allah in the sky, and he'll then ask you that the light is coming down from the white name of Allah. White light is coming down, and you take a deep breath in, and the light is going through your body, all the 7 ones, penetrating through all the 7 ones, and then you take a deep breath out, and the light comes back up, cleansing whatever issues, worries have, and leaves from your mouth. Yeah, that's the only difference, the unique of the first one is. This is like a preparing yourself. It's like when you put ignition in the cars and you turn the key, it makes that noise, like the cranking noise before it starts. This is the part you're doing now, inshallah. And then the rest of the process is the same. You breathe in, light goes inside of you, then goes inside where the color is, and leaves from the back as you breathe out, inshallah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry?
Which image? I think that was the one with the dives.
All the names of them. Yeah. Sorry? And I did go through as well. But it's good you asked and then we're repeating so that it's clear for everyone, inshallah.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
When you're imagining the white light, the preparation, do you also imagine it going through the
No,
the
you just
tube?
go straight down.
Straight through and
vertically,
straight back
vertically going down.
up? Okay.
This going to a cross section is afterwards. That's why I said this is unique. This is vertically going down. The rest is going horizontally. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you very much indeed for the way you explained. It was really wonderful. What I want to ask, please, are there any more spiritual centers other than these 6?
Yes, there are more.
Yeah.
Plenty more. Inshallah. But if I tell you all of them, you might say, I'm tired and I'm going to sleep. I can't remember all of them. But there are plenty more. I mean, here in the first part, it says 11, but actually it's more. Like maybe 14 or 21 or even more than that. But if I were to go through all of them, I think it'll be, by the time we finish all of them, it'll be like end of retreat. And then you say, oh, when are we having the experience? Because what happens, these 7 ones are the major ones. If you focus on the 7, all the other ones are covered automatically without you knowing. That's why you focus on those 7 for now, inshallah. There are others, like I said, it says 11, but they're actually up to 21 as well. But we don't focus on all of them because naturally, because it's like, if someone asks, I've never been to UK, and so tell me what the major cities. You mentioned London, Manchester, then Birmingham, then Leicester, then Glasgow. And someone goes, oh, you didn't mention Ashton on the line. It's all Ashton comes with it. Don't worry, it's part of Manchester already. For example, or Tameside, whatever you call it, yeah? So Ashton is already there. But when you live in there, then you discover these things. But from afar, major cities of a country is enough to know, where all the major places are, inshallah. Yeah, okay? Yes. Final one.
Sorry, just out of interest, so does that mean that these other they take you to different places as well? That they have different flavors as well?
Yeah, we want to go close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our
Right.
main focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the different communities and different, like the civilization have used it for different means. It's like the same thing. This concept shouldn't be very difficult. It's like your organs of your body. If you exercise well, you become very fit and healthy. But you can abuse it as well. You can use the lungs to smoke and do all sorts and damage your lungs. This is in your control. This is freedom of will. Or you can look after yourself, breathe well, do the breathing exercise, reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah. Yeah? I think I'm going to pause for now. It's important. I'm going to give you time to refresh. I would say exactly at 4:55, because it gives you time to settle for 5 minutes as well. So 4:55, come back. If you want to refresh, even if you have wudu, I would advise you go in the bathroom, just wash your face. So if you got tiredness, anything like that will go away. With cold water, by the way.
Really need to be fresh for this next
Inshallah,
session.
yeah. Also, within that 10 minutes, inshallah, do 2 rakat salatul hajjah as well.
And also there's plenty of fruit here at the front and both sides of the room. Help yourself. It's there to be consumed, not for display purposes.
So inshallah, so exactly 10 minutes.